They had me reading by the age of 3, doing multiplication problems by the age of 4, and by the time I was 5, I was bringing home daily homework. That emphasis on education is something that's helped me a lot and defined a lot of my life, and at the time, it seemed completely normal. Going to school seemed like a normal thing to me, like something everyone could do with little to no problems. It didn't really occur to me how much of a privilege it was to go to school until a couple of years later when we went to India. That trip was the first time I realized that not everyone necessarily could afford to go to school or was encouraged to, and as I grew older, I realized that this problem disproportionately affected young girls. I grew even older, and we would take more trips to India, and I talked to some of my older friends who had dropped out of school. And they told me that they had dropped out of school because their parents believed that eventually these girls would have to get married, and an education would somehow make them a worse wife. Unfortunately, girls being denied an education isn't a localized problem. Around the world, 750 million adults are illiterate, and 2/3 of them are women. School expenses, biased legislature, and quite honestly, child marriage all contribute to a lack of educational opportunities for women in third world countries. But there's also a sort of mentality in some of these countries that an education for a girl is a type of investment that will never be compensated. That's simply not the case. Around the world, an increase in educational opportunities for women bring about mass changes. First of all, when a woman is educated, she is able to make informed, autonomous financial decisions. Women who go to school tend to earn more overall and can contribute more to their family's income. This singular source of income could be the defining factor in whether or not a family lives below the poverty line. In a 1992 study, Lawrence Summers estimated that for every additional year of schooling that a woman completed, her wages later in life go up by 10 to 20%. Now, this growth is exponential, and what it means is the longer a woman stays in school, the more she will be able to earn throughout her lifetime. In that same study, Summers goes on to talk about how educated women start this cycle of education. So in families where a mother is educated, she's more likely to encourage her daughters to stay in school for longer, and they will earn more money in their lifetimes. These daughters will encourage their daughters to stay in school, and so on, leading to this massive financial growth across generations, something that the UN cites as a major factor in eradicating world poverty altogether. Now, in addition to familial financial stability, an education for a woman also provides a sense of independence that may not have been there before. Now, in third world countries especially, women face a disproportionately high level of abuse, with 75% of women reporting some form of abuse from someone that they're financially dependent on. Now, one of the big issues here is that when you're financially dependent on your abuser, you can't leave that situation no matter how much you may want to. If these women do leave, they will essentially be on the streets fending for themselves. However, when a woman is educated, she is more likely to be in a job that pays her well. And that means that if she wants to leave an abusive situation, she can do so without having to worry for her financial security. So obviously, on the individual level, there are definitely gains to educating women. Women and families have this sense of stability that is arguably essential to living peacefully, but also this sense of independence that, again, is essential for a human to live and be comfortable. Now, these relatively small gains would change the lives of 587 million girls and young women around the world today who cannot read. But speaking globally for a moment, women's education does more than impact the lives of women alone. When more women are educated, and especially when more women pursue a higher education, we see more people in skilled jobs. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you're a country, it means that more of your citizens are earning more money and can therefore put more into that country's economy. USAID estimates that for every 1% increase in girls who complete secondary school, and this isn't a college or university education, it's just a high school basic education, a country's GDP goes up by 0.3% in turn. Again, this growth is exponential, so by encouraging women to pursue their education, Countries only bring half their workforce into play, but they bolster their economies. Now, another thing that we see when countries first start pushing women's education is an influx of women into STEM jobs. Science, technology, engineering, and math spearhead global development. And breakthroughs in these fields don't just help us as individual communities or as countries, but all of us together as humanity. Just recently in Mexico, a woman-led team found a cure for 2 different strains of HPV, the leading cause of cervical cancer worldwide. Now, this breakthrough was aided due to increased funding towards the science and medicine areas. This breakthrough, among others, can save millions of lives long term, which is why it is especially important that women go into these fields. Now, the other major thing that we see in areas where women are educated is this increased receptiveness to science. Households where the mother is educated are more likely to get their children vaccinated. They go to hospitals when they get sick. In areas where women are educated, more people invest in contraceptives and birth control. We see that infant mortality rates go down, teen pregnancy rates go down, and lifespans, they go up. Now, all of this comes down to one central idea. At its core, education exists to spread information. When a woman is educated, she has access to information and can make better decisions about her health, her family's health, and her community's health. And that's why, where women are educated, we see that families are happier and healthier. Now, people give many justifications for refusing to educate their daughters. They say that it's useless in the long term, or that it will bring dishonor on their family. But there's a deeper, darker underlying principle to all of this. Educated women bring about change. That's something we've seen time and time again. We saw it with Malala Yousafzai in Pakistan, who challenged the rule of the Taliban. We've seen it with Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the US, who has championed women's rights for decades. Change is scary, yes, but change is essential to the fabric of society. And when we deny girls an education, or when we refuse to advocate for that education, that very fabric begins to unravel. As people in a first world country, and especially as people in a country where our basic education is almost guaranteed, we have this sort of responsibility to advocate for others wherever we can. The fact of the matter is, some of the stuff that we take for granted, going to school, getting a job, sitting in this auditorium today, they're not things that everyone has the ability to do. Our lives are so much better simply because we've had the opportunity to learn. It's unfair and irresponsible to deny other people that right. Malala Yousafzai once said that one child, one teacher, one book, or one pen can change the world. That child who changes the world may be in this auditorium today, or in Pakistan, or in Sierra Leone. But one thing's for certain, whether that child is a boy or a girl, they deserve that chance to change the world. They deserve an education.